The taste of bitter almonds and metallic blood was the last sensation Julian Sterling experienced in his wretched life. He lay convulsing on the cold, imported Italian marble floor of the Sterling Empire's penthouse suite, clutching his throat as his airways constricted. His vision was blurring, swimming in a haze of agony, but he could still clearly see the two figures standing over him. His half-brother, Caden, holding a crystal flute of vintage champagne, smiling a smile that lacked any warmth, a smile that was pure distilled malice. Beside Caden stood their stepmother, Elena, looking down at Julian, not with pity, not with horror, but with the mild annoyance one might feel for a stubborn red wine stain on a white Persian rug. "You really thought you could win, didn't you, Julian?" Elena sighed, adjusting her multi-million-dollar diamond necklace, the light fracturing off the gems in a mockery of his dying moments. "You are illegitimate. You are a mistake. You worked for 30 years, slavery really, building this company back from the ashes of your father's incompetence just to hand it over to my Caden today. You should be honored. You served your purpose as the workhorse." "Why?" Julian gasped, his lungs burning as if he had inhaled fire. I saved the family. I saved you. And now your purpose is served." Caden laughed, a cruel high sound. He stepped forward and kicked Julian's hand away from his leg, dusting off his trousers as if Julian's touch was infectious. "Die quietly, brother. The board meeting is in 10 minutes. I need to announce your unfortunate heart attack brought on by stress and drug abuse. The press release is already written." Darkness took him, but it wasn't peaceful. The rage, the regret, the sheer crushing injustice of it all burned brighter than the physical pain. He had been a fool. He had craved their love, their approval. He had been a dog begging for scraps while they sharpened the knife. "If I had another chance," he thought as his heart gave one final agonizing stutter and stopped. "If I had just one more chance, I would not seek your love. I would tear you both apart piece by piece until nothing remained but ash." "Julian, wake up, you lazy, good-for-nothing brat." A sharp pain, a pinch on his arm. Julian gasped, his eyes flying open. He sat up violently, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs, expecting to see the sterile ceiling of the penthouse or the fiery gates of hell. Instead, he saw a canopy of blue silk with little hand-painted cartoon stars. The smell of lavender and old dust filled his nose. He looked at his hands. They were tiny, smooth, unblemished. No calluses from years of signing contracts, no scar on his thumb from the assassination attempt in his 20s. He touched his face, soft cheeks, no wrinkles. He looked at the calendar on the bedside table. It was a digital clock with red LED numbers. October 10th, 1995. He was 7 years old. He was alive. "Are you deaf?" A shrill voice pierced the air, shattering his confusion. Julian turned his head slowly to see a young maid, Sarah, standing there with a scowl that etched deep lines into her forehead. She was Elena's personal spy in the household. In his past life, Sarah had poisoned his food with growth-stunting hormones for years, ensuring he would always be smaller and weaker than Caden. She had been the one to plant false evidence in his room. She was the first demon he had encountered. "Get up!" Sarah snapped, reaching out to pinch him again. "Madam Elena is waiting. Today is young Master Caden's 8th birthday party. You are to serve the guests, and don't you dare look sullen or you'll sleep in the kennel tonight." Julian lowered his eyes. A cold, terrifying smile touched his childish lips, hidden by the shadows of the room. He remembered this day. This was the day his life ended the first time, not physically, but socially. On this day, in his previous life, he had been accused of pushing Caden down the stairs. He hadn't done it. Caden had tripped while chasing a servant, but Elena had twisted the narrative. His father, Arthur Sterling, had beaten him in front of the guests, locked him in the attic for 3 days, and effectively disowned him in his heart. That was the day he became the evil, jealous bastard child. "I'm awake, Sarah," Julian said. His voice was high, childish, but the tone was steady. "I'll be ready in 5 minutes. Sarah blinked. She was used to him crying, begging for 5 more minutes, or complaining about a stomachache. The calm compliance unsettled her. "Make it 3, she huffed, turning to leave. "And wear the suit Madam laid out for you." Julian climbed out of bed. He walked to the mirror. He looked at his 7-year-old self. Big, dark eyes, messy black hair, a frame that was too thin for his age. But behind those eyes lay the soul of a 37-year-old business tycoon who had conquered Wall Street. "Happy birthday, Caden," Julian whispered to his reflection. "I hope you enjoy your party, because I am going to turn it into your funeral." He put on the suit Sarah had left. It was an oversized, tacky tuxedo that looked ridiculous. It was designed to make him look like a clown next to Caden, who would be dressed in a tailored Armani suit. In his past life, Julian had cried and refused to wear it, causing a scene before the party even started. This time, Julian buttoned it up. He rolled the sleeves neatly. He fixed the bow tie. He looked at the mirror and practiced his expression. He widened his eyes. He let his lip tremble slightly. He created the perfect mask of a timid, obedient, slightly pathetic child. He walked out of his room and down the grand staircase. The Sterling mansion was buzzing with activity. Servants were running around with trays of caviar and champagne, and there, in the center of the hall, stood Elena. She was younger than he remembered, breathtakingly beautiful, with a smile that could freeze water. She was adjusting Caden's tie. "Mommy, do I have to invite him?" Caden whined, pointing up the stairs at Julian. Even at 8, Caden was a bully. He was chubby, spoiled, and cruel. "Hush, darling," Elena cooed, kissing his forehead. "We must show the world we are a benevolent family. We treat the mistake with kindness. It makes us look better. Besides, he is useful. He can hold your gifts." Julian walked down the stairs. He approached them and bowed his head deeply. "Good morning, Mother. Happy birthday, Caden." Elena looked at him, surprise flickering in her eyes. Usually, Julian would be sulking. "Good morning, Julian. You look acceptable. Go to the kitchen. Sarah has a tray for you. You will pass out appetizers to the guests." "Yes, Mother." Julian walked to the kitchen. He knew the layout of this house better than anyone. He knew the secret passages, the blind spots in the security cameras, which were primitive in 1995, and he knew where the bodies were buried, figuratively and literally. In the kitchen, Sarah shoved a heavy silver tray into his hands. "Take this. Don't drop it or I'll break your fingers." Julian took the tray. He walked out into the garden where the party was starting. The elite of the city were there, politicians, business moguls, celebrities. His father, Arthur Sterling, was holding court near the fountain. Arthur was a tall, imposing man who valued strength and success above all else. He barely looked at Julian. To him, Julian was a reminder of a momentary lapse in judgment with a woman he didn't love. Julian moved through the crowd, offering appetizers. He made sure to be polite, charming, and invisible. He was gathering intel. He listened to whispers. He watched Elena. He knew the plan. In his past life, around 2 p.m., Elena would call everyone to the living room for gifts. During the gift opening, she would discover that her priceless diamond brooch was missing. They would search the servants, then they would search Julian, and they would find it in his pocket. It was a simple, brutal frame-up. It established him as a thief and a liar. Julian checked the grandfather clock in the hall. 1:45 p.m., it was time. He saw Elena whisper something to Sarah. Sarah nodded and slipped away toward the master bedroom upstairs. Julian knew she was going to get the brooch. She would then bump into him, slip it into his pocket, and the trap would be set. Julian put his tray down on a side table. He needed to intercept Sarah, but he couldn't just tackle her. He was 7. He ran to the pantry. He grabbed a small bottle of olive oil. He poured a small puddle of it on the marble floor near the entrance to the living room, the exact spot where Sarah would have to pass to get to him. Then, he hid behind a heavy velvet curtain. 2 minutes later, Sarah came rushing down the back stairs. She looked nervous. She was clutching something tightly in her apron pocket. She walked fast, her eyes scanning the room for Julian. She stepped onto the marble. Swoosh! Her feet flew out from under her. Sarah shrieked, arms flailing, and crashed heavily onto the floor. Clatter. A sparkling object flew out of her apron pocket and skittered across the floor, sliding under a large sofa. Sarah groaned, clutching her back. She didn't see where the brooch went. She panicked. She started patting her pockets, empty. Her face went pale. She scrambled up, slipping again on the oil, looking frantically around. She couldn't find it. Julian watched from the curtain, a cold smirk on his face. Strike one. But he wasn't done. Just hiding the brooch wasn't enough. He needed to turn this weapon against them. He waited until Sarah limped away to the kitchen to compose herself. He quietly crawled under the sofa, retrieved the diamond brooch, and put it in his pocket. Now he had the bomb. Where to plant it? He saw Caden running around, pushing other children, laughing as he smeared cake on a girl's dress. Caden's jacket pocket was wide open. No. Too easy. If he put it on Caden, Elena would just say Caden was playing with it. Mothers forgive their golden children everything. He needed a target that would hurt Elena. He needed to damage her reputation. He looked at the main table. There was a pile of gifts, and right in the center was a massive, open box filled with donation envelopes. The Sterling family was collecting money for a charity today, a charity that Julian knew from his future knowledge was actually a front for Elena's money laundering. Julian waited for the crowd to thicken. He squeezed through the adults, making himself small. He reached the donation box. With a sleight of hand he had perfected in his 30s while dealing with shady contract signings, he slipped the diamond brooch deep inside one of the charity envelopes, specifically the envelope from the mayor's wife. Then he went back to his spot and waited. 2:15 p.m. Attention everyone! Elena clapped her hands, standing on the dais next to Arthur. She looked radiant. Before we cut the cake, I want to thank you all for coming, and... oh my. She touched her chest, feigning shock. My brooch! My blue star brooch! It's gone! The crowd gasped. The blue star was worth $500,000. Arthur, it was pinned to my dress just moments ago! Elena cried, acting the distressed victim perfectly. Someone must have... surely not, but we have so many people here. Arthur frowned. Lock the doors. No one leaves until we find it. Sarah, the maid, was sweating profusely in the corner. She knew she had lost it, but she couldn't say anything without implicating herself. She shot a hateful glare at Julian, assuming he had picked it up from the floor. She signaled Elena with a subtle nod toward Julian. Elena caught the signal. Her eyes narrowed. Arthur, she said softly, but loud enough for the nearby guests to hear. I hate to say this, but I saw Julian lurking near my dressing room earlier. You know how he covets things. Arthur turned his cold gaze to Julian. Julian, come here. The crowd parted. Julian walked forward, trembling. He made himself look small, terrified. Did you take your mother's brooch? Arthur barked. No, father, I swear. Julian cried, tears welling up instantly. I have been serving food all day. Ask the guests. He's lying, Caden shouted, running over. He's a thief. He stole my toy car last week. Search him, Daddy. Search him, Arthur commanded the security guard. The guard patted Julian down roughly. He checked every pocket. He checked his socks. Nothing, sir. He is clean. Elena's smile faltered. Sarah's face went white. Are you sure? Elena snapped. Check again. Madam, he has nothing. The silence in the room was deafening. Arthur looked at Elena, annoyed. You are making a scene, Elena. Are you sure you didn't just drop it? Elena was flushing red. This wasn't the plan. Maybe. Julian spoke up, his voice small and innocent. Maybe it fell into the charity box. Mother was standing over it earlier, hugging the mayor's wife. Don't be ridiculous. Elena snapped. Why would it be in there? Let's check, the mayor said, stepping forward. He wanted to clear his wife's name from any proximity to the theft. The security guard emptied the charity box onto the table. Envelopes spilled out, and there, sliding out of a partially sealed envelope, glittered the blue star brooch. The crowd murmured. It was in the mayor's envelope, someone whispered. Did Elena try to bribe the mayor? No. Did she try to frame the mayor for theft? Or is she laundering money? The rumors flew instantly. The optics were terrible. It looked like a botched transaction or a bizarre setup. Arthur's face turned purple with rage. He grabbed Elena's arm. What is the meaning of this? Why was your jewelry in the donation box? I don't know. It must have fallen. Elena stammered, looking at Sarah for help, but the maid was cowering. Julian stood to the side, wiping his fake tears. He looked up at his father. Father, Julian said softly, I think Mother just wanted to give the most generous donation of all. She is so kind, isn't she? The room went silent. Then the mayor laughed. Well, that is a generous donation indeed. $500,000 to the orphanage. Thank you, Elena. Elena looked like she had swallowed a lemon. She couldn't take it back now. If she said it was a mistake, she looked cheap and careless. If she accepted it, she lost her favorite necklace and $500,000. Yes, Elena choked out, forcing a smile that looked like a rictus of pain. Yes, for the children, of course. Arthur glared at her. He knew she was lying, but he had to save face. My wife is very generous, he gritted out. Julian, good eye. For the first time in his life, Arthur Sterling looked at Julian with something other than disgust. He looked at him with assessment. Julian bowed. Thank you, Father. As the party resumed, Julian walked back to the kitchen. He passed Sarah, who was trembling in the hallway. Julian stopped. He leaned in close to the maid. His voice dropped the childish pitch. It became low, cold, and terrifyingly adult. The floor was slippery, wasn't it, Sarah? Sarah froze. She looked down at the 7-year-old boy. His eyes were dark voids. Next time, Julian whispered, if you try to touch me, you won't just slip. You'll never stand up again. He patted her apron and walked away, grabbing a chocolate cupcake from the counter. He took a bite. It tasted sweet. Victory tasted sweet. But this was just the beginning. He had saved himself from the first trap. Now he needed money. He needed capital, and he knew exactly where to get it. The morning sun filtered through the heavy velvet curtains of the Sterling dining room, casting long, dusty beams of light across the table laden with a breakfast feast fit for royalty. Silver platters held mountains of bacon, eggs Benedict, and exotic fruits imported from the tropics. Yet, despite the abundance, the atmosphere was starving for warmth. Julian sat at the far end of the table, his legs dangling from the high chair, barely touching the floor. He was cutting his toast into precise geometric squares. He chewed slowly, his eyes fixed on his stepmother, Elena. She was reading a fashion magazine, sipping black coffee, looking as if the humiliating incident with the brooch the day before had never happened. But Julian knew better. He could see the tension in her jaw, the way her manicured fingers gripped the porcelain cup a little too tightly. She was a viper coiling for a strike. Arthur, Elena said, putting down her magazine. Her voice was sweet, dripping with false concern. I have been thinking about Julian's development. Arthur Sterling, buried behind the broadsheet of the Financial Times, grunted. What about it? Well, she sighed, casting a pitying glance at Julian. Yesterday's incident with the brooch. While it ended well with the donation, it was quite erratic behavior. Hiding jewelry in an envelope, it suggests a cry for help. I'm worried he might be intellectually challenged, or perhaps emotionally disturbed. Julian didn't look up. He took another bite of toast. Here it comes, he thought, the special needs gambit. In his past life, this was how she justified sending him to a remedial boarding school in the middle of nowhere, a place that was essentially a prison for unwanted children, where they were drugged and beaten into submission. He had spent 5 years there. He would not go back. I've hired Mr. Blackwood, Elena continued, her eyes gleaming. He is a renowned child psychologist and tutor. He will come today to evaluate both Caden and Julian. If Julian is falling behind, as I suspect, Mr. Blackwood has recommended a wonderful facility in Switzerland that specializes in such cases. Arthur lowered the paper. He looked at Julian. Switzerland? That's far. It's for his own good, Arthur. We don't want him embarrassing the family name with his limitations. Caden, of course, is already reading at a 4th grade level. We need to separate them so Julian doesn't hold Caden back. Arthur nodded slowly. He didn't care about Julian, but he cared about the family image. Fine. Let Blackwood test him. But if the boy is an idiot, ship him off. I don't need a dullard inheriting my name. I am not an idiot, Father, Julian said. His voice was soft, clear, and devoid of the stutter he used to have in his past life. Arthur looked surprised. Elena narrowed her eyes. We shall see, won't we? Elena smiled thinly. Mr. Blackwood arrives at noon. Julian finished his breakfast and excused himself. He had 3 hours before the evaluation. He knew Mr. Blackwood. The man was a fraud, a gambler who owed debts to Elena's family. He would rig the test against Julian no matter what answers Julian gave. Passing the test wasn't about being smart, it was about exposing the rigor. But first, Julian had a bigger problem. He needed capital. He needed money. His allowance was 0. Elena saw to that. He walked past his father's study. The door was slightly ajar. He could hear Arthur shouting into the heavy receiver of his landline phone. I don't care what the analysts say. The Omnicorp merger is a gold mine. I'm pouring $20 million into it. Yes, liquidating the Asia assets. Do it by this afternoon. Julian froze. Omnicorp. He remembered Omnicorp. October 1995. It was the biggest tech merger of the year. Every analyst predicted it would skyrocket. His father had bet the farm on it. But 3 days later, the CEO of Omnicorp would be arrested for massive fraud and the stock would plummet to 0. It was the first major blow to the Sterling Empire, a blow that took Arthur 10 years to recover from, years during which Elena tightened her grip on the family finances. If Julian could stop it, he wouldn't just save the money, he would earn something far more valuable. Arthur's greed fueled respect. Julian pushed the door open. Arthur slammed the phone down and glared at the intruder. Julian, get out. I'm busy making millions. You're busy losing $20 million, Father, Julian said, walking into the room. He felt ridiculous in his short pants and knee socks, but he carried himself with the gravitas of a CEO. Arthur blinked. He laughed, a harsh barking sound. "What did you say? Go play with your toys." "Omnicorp is a shell," Julian stated, walking up to the massive oak desk. He couldn't even see over the top of it, so he climbed onto a leather chair to look his father in the eye. "Their CEO, Mr. Vance, he isn't in London for business. He's in the Cayman Islands. He's moving the assets. The SEC is raiding their offices on Thursday." Arthur stopped laughing. He stared at his 7-year-old son. Where did you hear that? Did you hear me talking?" "I read," Julian lied smoothly, "and I listen. I heard the gardener talking. His cousin is a janitor at Omnicorp. He saw them shredding documents all night." It was a flimsy lie, but it was plausible enough to plant a seed of doubt. Paranoid businessmen always feared the gossip of the lower class. "That's ridiculous," Arthur scoffed, but his hand hovered over the phone. "Is it?" Julian leaned forward. "Father, let's make a deal. You delay the transaction for 48 hours, just 2 days. If I'm wrong, I will go to that boarding school in Switzerland. I will renounce my inheritance. I will never bother you again." Arthur's eyes widened. "You would give up your birthright?" "Yes, but if I'm right, if the news breaks on Thursday, you give me 10%. 10% of the company?" Arthur roared. "No," Julian smiled. 10% of the money I saved you, $2 million, into a trust fund under my control." Arthur stared at him. The boy was 7. He shouldn't even know what a trust fund was, but there was something in Julian's eyes, a cold, hard intelligence that made Arthur shiver. It reminded him of his own father, the ruthless founder of the empire. "You're crazy," Arthur muttered, "but delaying 48 hours won't kill the deal." He looked at Julian. "If you are wrong, I'm shipping you to Antarctica, not Switzerland." "Agreed." Julian hopped off the chair. "Don't sign the papers, Father. Thursday." Julian walked out of the study, his heart racing. He had just gambled his entire future on a memory from 30 years ago. If history had changed... No, it hadn't. He was sure of it. Now he needed to leave the house. He needed to find his weapon. In his past life, Julian had been destroyed by his lack of technical knowledge. The world moved to the internet, and he was left behind, managing brick-and-mortar stores while Caden, using stolen ideas, invested in tech. This time, Julian would own the digital age, but he couldn't code. He was a businessman, a shark, not a programmer. He needed a genius. He needed Cypher. In the year 2005, a hacker known as Cypher would break into the Pentagon, rewrite the tax code of France, and then vanish. He would later emerge as the creator of Nexus, the world's largest cybersecurity firm. His real name was Alex Chen. In 1995, Alex Chen was a 14-year-old runaway living in the back of a rundown arcade in the Lower East Side. Julian needed to get to the Lower East Side. He went to the garage. The family chauffeur, a burly man named Gus, was polishing the Rolls-Royce. "Gus," Julian said. Gus looked down. "Hey, Master Julian. You shouldn't be here. Madame Elena will have my hide." Julian reached into his pocket. He pulled out a gold watch, Arthur's spare Rolex, which Julian had borrowed from the study just now. "Take me to the Starburst Arcade on 4th Street, Julian said, "and this is yours." Gus's eyes popped out. That watch was worth 3 months of his salary. "Kid, did you steal that?" "Father gave it to me to get cleaned," Julian lied effortlessly. "But I want to go to the arcade first, just for an hour. Keep the watch. If you tell anyone, I'll tell Father you stole it." Gus looked at the watch, then at the scary 7-year-old. Greed won. "Get in the back. Keep your head down." The Starburst Arcade smelled of stale popcorn, ozone, and teenage sweat. It was a cacophony of 8-bit beeps and flashing neon lights. Julian, in his little suit, looked entirely out of place. He navigated through the crowd of teenagers playing Street Fighter II and Mortal Kombat. He found him in the back corner. A skinny Asian kid with messy hair wearing a hoodie 3 sizes too big was hunched over a broken Pac-Man machine. The back panel was open and wires were spilling out. The kid was typing furiously on a bulky laptop hooked up to the machine's motherboard. "Alex Chen," Julian said. The kid jumped, nearly dropping his soldering iron. He spun around. "Who the hell are you? Are you a narc? You look like a baby fed." "I'm a business partner," Julian said, looking at the laptop screen. "You're bypassing the coin mechanism. Trying to play for free?" "I'm optimizing the code," Alex scoffed, turning back. "The ghost AI is stupid. I'm making it smarter." "You're hungry," Julian observed. "Your shoes have holes, and you're sleeping behind the skee-ball machine." Alex stiffened. "Get lost, rich kid, before I take your lunch money." "I don't have lunch money," Julian said, "but I have a proposition. I know you're building a compression algorithm, the one that can shrink video files by 80% without quality loss. Alex froze. He dropped the screwdriver. He turned slowly, his eyes wide with genuine fear. How? Nobody knows about that. It's on my hard drive. It's not even finished. I know because it's brilliant, Julian said, but you can't finish it because your laptop has 4 MB of RAM and you're running on stolen electricity. You need hardware. You need a server. You need funding. And you have that? Alex laughed nervously. You're like 7. I am the heir to the Sterling Empire, Julian said. I have resources you can't imagine. I want to buy your algorithm and I want to hire you. Hire me? Exclusive contract. You build the tech, I build the empire. I'll give you $5,000 cash today as a signing bonus and a new computer tomorrow. $5,000? Alex's voice cracked. That was a fortune. You're lying. Julian pulled out a thick envelope from his jacket. It wasn't $5,000. It was the $2,000 he had saved from the brooch incident. He had found some loose cash in the envelope too, unbeknownst to anyone. Here's $2,000. The rest comes when you sign. Alex looked at the money. He looked at Julian. Who are you? Alex whispered. I'm the guy who is going to make you a billionaire, Julian said. But right now, I need a favor. Can you hack a pager? A pager? Alex snorted. I can hack a satellite with a toaster. Whose pager? Mr. Blackwood, a child psychologist. He's coming to my house in 1 hour to give me a test. I need you to intercept the answers he sent to his assistant and send me a copy. And I need you to change his credit score to 0. Alex grinned. It was a wicked, sharp grin. I like you, tiny boss. Consider it done. Julian arrived back at the mansion at 11:55 a.m. He slipped in through the kitchen entrance just as Mr. Blackwood's car pulled up the driveway. Mr. Blackwood was a rotund man with a sweaty face and a cheap suit that tried to look expensive. He carried a briefcase like it contained nuclear codes. He sat in the living room, wiping his forehead with a handkerchief. Elena sat opposite him, looking like a queen. Caden was there too, playing a Game Boy, ignoring everyone. So, the test is standard? Elena asked loudly for Arthur's benefit, who had just walked in. Oh yes, very standard. Blackwood smiled, his teeth yellow. It measures cognitive ability, pattern recognition, and emotional stability. However, he lowered his voice. Given Julian's background, don't be surprised if he scores in the low 70s, borderline retardation. Just give the test, Arthur grunted. He was still thinking about the Omnicorp deal, watching the clock. Julian walked in. Hello, Mr. Blackwood. Ah, the subject, Blackwood sneered. Sit down, boy. 2 desks were set up, one for Caden, one for Julian. You have 1 hour, Blackwood said, handing out the booklets. Begin. Julian opened the booklet. It was rigged. He recognized it immediately. Caden's booklet had simple questions. What color is the sky? 2 plus 2. Julian's booklet was advanced calculus, logic puzzles meant for adults, and obscure historical trivia. Elena smirked. She had paid Blackwood well. Even a genius child couldn't pass this. It was designed to make him fail, to make him cry, to prove he was unstable. Julian looked at the first question. Explain the socioeconomic impact of the Treaty of Versailles. He smiled. He picked up his pen. 10 minutes later, Blackwood's pager beeped. He checked it. It was a text message. Urgent. Bank alert. Your accounts have been frozen due to fraud investigation. Assets seized. Blackwood went pale. He started sweating profusely. He looked at Elena, panic in his eyes. Julian kept writing. He wasn't answering the questions in the booklet. He was writing something else entirely. Time's up! Blackwood shouted after only 20 minutes. He was desperate to leave and check his bank. Hand them over! He snatched Caden's paper. Excellent! Look at this penmanship! Genius! He snatched Julian's paper. He didn't even look at it. Blank or scribbles? As expected. A failure. Wait, Arthur said. Let me see. Arthur walked over. He took Julian's paper. He looked at it. It wasn't answers to the test. It was a list. Mr. Blackwood's gambling debts. 1. The Golden Horseshoe Casino, $15,000 to Loan Shark Big Tony, 22, Drozar, 3. SECRETACCOUNTINGERSEY FUNDEDBYELENASTERLINGONOCT9TH 22003 Secret Account in Jersey, funded by Alina Sterling on October 9th, 10,000. Arthur read the list. His face went from confusion to stone-cold rage. What is this? Arthur asked, his voice low. It's a math problem, Father, Julian said innocently. I was calculating how much Mr. Blackwood costs. I think Mother overpaid. Elena gasped. She stood up, knocking over her tea. Julian, what lies are you writing? Arthur looked at Blackwood. Is this true? Did my wife pay you $10,000 yesterday? Blackwood was shaking. His pager beeped again. Message from unknown. Tell the truth or we send the photos of you and the escort to your wife. Courtesy of Alex Chen. Blackwood broke. He fell to his knees. I'm sorry. She made me do it. She told me to give the boy the impossible test. She paid me to fail him. I have debts. Please don't kill me. The room went dead silent. Even Caden stopped playing his Game Boy. Arthur turned to Elena. His eyes were like ice. You bribed a man to declare my son retarded? Arthur asked. Arthur, no! He's lying. The boy is manipulating you. Elena screamed, but her composure was shattered. Get out, Arthur said to Blackwood. If I see you again, I will have you hunted for sport. Blackwood ran. Arthur looked at Elena. We will discuss this later. Then he looked at Julian. He looked at the test paper with the list of debts. Where did you get this information? Arthur asked. Julian tapped his temple. I told you, Father. I listen, and I see things others don't. Am I still going to Switzerland? Arthur stared at his small son. He saw the terrifying potential. He saw a weapon. No, Arthur said. You're staying right here. 2 days later, Thursday, Arthur Sterling sat in his study staring at the TV. The news anchor was speaking breathlessly. Breaking news, the SEC has raided Omnicorp headquarters. CEO Vance has been arrested in the Caymans. The stock has plummeted 99%. Investors have lost billions. Arthur turned off the TV. He sat in silence for a long time. He had almost lost $20 million. The door opened. Julian walked in. Did you see the news, Father? Arthur nodded. He opened his desk drawer. He pulled out a checkbook. He wrote a check for $2 million. He handed it to Julian. You saved the family fortune, Arthur said. Here is your commission. A trust fund has been set up. Julian took the check. It was heavier than paper. It was freedom. It was power. Thank you, Father. Julian, Arthur said as the boy turned to leave. Who are you? Really? Julian stopped at the door. He looked back, and for a second the mask of the child slipped, revealing the 30-year-old tycoon. I'm the investment you should have made a long time ago, Julian said. He walked out. He had the money. He had the genius hacker. He had his father's attention. But Elena was wounded, not dead. And a wounded animal is the most dangerous. Julian walked to his room. He found a small box on his bed, a gift. He opened it. Inside was a dead canary. Its neck was broken. A note was attached, written in elegant cursive. Smart birds shouldn't sing too loud. Accidents happen. Julian smiled. He picked up the dead bird. You want a war, Mother? He whispered. Fine. 3 years passed. The calendar on the wall of Julian's bedroom now read July 1998. To the outside world, Julian Sterling was a quiet, unassuming 10-year-old boy who spent too much time on his computer and got straight A's in school without seeming to try. He was the boring Sterling brother. Caden, now 11, was the star, loud, brash, the captain of the junior football team, and the apple of his mother's eye despite his failing grades and a growing cruelty that manifested in tortured stray animals. But in the shadows, Julian was a titan. Using the $2 million he had extracted from his father, Julian had created a shell company in the Cayman Islands called Phoenix Holdings. Through Alex Chen, who was now 16, living in a luxury penthouse paid for by Julian, and coding like a machine possessed, Julian had invested aggressively in the burgeoning .com bubble. He bought Amazon at 18. He bought Yahoo. He funded a small search engine startup called Google in a garage. By the summer of 1998, 10-year-old Julian Sterling was secretly worth $150 million. But money couldn't buy safety, not in the Sterling household. The dead canary had been the first warning. Over the last 3 years, there had been accidents. A brake line cut on his bicycle, a heavy chandelier falling inches from his head in the foyer, poison ivy mixed into his salad greens. Julian survived them all, his paranoia from his past life serving as an impenetrable shield. He tested his food, he checked his equipment, he slept with one eye open. Elena was getting desperate. Her subtle attempts had failed. Caden was proving to be incompetent, and Arthur was beginning to look at Julian with increasing favor. Every time Julian solved a complex business problem at dinner casually, Arthur's eyes would light up and Elena's soul would darken. She needed a permanent solution. She needed a heavy hitter. Julian, pack your bags. Elena announced one sweltering July morning, her smile bright and brittle as glass. "Your Uncle Marcus is in town. He wants to take you and Caden to the family lodge in the Adirondacks for a men's weekend. Hunting, fishing, bonding. Your father is too busy with the merger, so Marcus offered to take you." Julian looked up from his oatmeal. Uncle Marcus. In his past life, Marcus Vance was Elena's older brother, a former mercenary turned gambling addict who owed money to half the criminal underworld. He was a brute, a man who solved problems with his fists and a hunting rifle. In the original timeline, Marcus had never taken Julian hunting. He had only appeared at Julian's funeral to drink the expensive scotch. "That sounds delightful, Mother," Julian said, his face a mask of childish innocence. "I have never been hunting." "It will be a great experience," Elena said, her eyes gleaming with malice. "Marcus is an expert marksman. He will teach you everything about survival." Julian went to his room. He locked the door. He pulled out a bulky, modified Nokia phone from under his floorboards, a prototype Alex had built for him. It was encrypted and untraceable. "Alex," Julian said, "the Viper's moving. I'm going to the Adirondacks with Marcus Vance." "Marcus Vance?" Alex's voice crackled over the line. "I ran a background check on him last week when you flagged him. He owes $400,000 to the Triads. He has a deadline of next Tuesday. If he doesn't pay, they take his legs." "So Elena bought his debt," Julian surmised. "She paid him to make sure I have a hunting accident. If I die, Caden becomes the sole heir again, and Elena pays Marcus with my inheritance." "Julian, don't go," Alex said urgently. "This guy is a killer. You're 10. You can't fight a mercenary in the woods. Time is a cruel sculptor. It chisels away the innocence of youth and leaves behind the hardened features of adulthood." The calendar on the wall of the Sterling headquarters now read September 15th, 2008. The world was on fire. Lehman Brothers had just filed for bankruptcy. The global financial markets were in freefall. Panic was the new currency. But in the penthouse office of the Sterling Empire, the atmosphere wasn't just panicked, it was poisonous. Arthur Sterling, now 65 and looking 80, sat slumped in his leather chair. His skin was gray, his breathing labored. The stress of watching his life's work crumble value by the hour was killing him, literally. But it wasn't just stress. For the past 6 months, his tonic, prepared lovingly by Elena, had been laced with small, untraceable amounts of arsenic. Not enough to kill him instantly, but enough to make him weak, confused, and dependent. Standing over him was Caden Sterling. At 21, Caden was the epitome of wasted potential. He wore a suit that cost more than a car, but he wore it sloppily. His eyes were bloodshot from a weekend bender in Vegas. "Father, you have to sign the authorization," Caden shouted, slamming his hand on the desk. "We need to sell the logistics division. We need the cash flow." "The logistics division is the heart of the company," Arthur wheezed, clutching his chest. "We built it from nothing." "It's dead weight," Elena interjected, stepping out from the shadows. She hadn't aged a day, thanks to expensive surgeries and the blood of her enemies, metaphorically, though Julian wouldn't put it past her. "Arthur, be reasonable. Caden has a vision. He wants to pivot to real estate. The market is just in a dip. It will bounce back. We sell logistics, buy cheap property, and become trillionaires." It was the worst possible advice in 2008. Real estate was the anchor dragging the world down. But Elena didn't care about the company's long-term health. She cared about liquidity. She needed cash to cover the $50 million hole Caden had blown in the company accounts with his gambling and failed investments in Ponzi schemes. I can't," Arthur gasped. "Sign it, old man," Caden snarled, shoving the pen into his father's shaking hand. The door opened. "I wouldn't sign that if I were you, Father." Julian Sterling walked in. At 20, he was a masterpiece of cold, calculated elegance. He wore a simple black turtleneck and trousers. No jewelry, no flash. But his presence sucked the oxygen out of the room. He didn't look like a businessman. He looked like an assassin who used spreadsheets instead of bullets. "Julian," Elena sneered, "the art student, did you get lost on your way to the museum? This is a boardroom, not a gallery." That was the cover Julian had maintained for a decade. To the world and to Elena, he was a soft, unambitious scholar studying art history at NYU. He showed no interest in the company. He let Caden shine. He let Caden fail. He let Caden think he was the king, while Julian was the one building the throne. "I came to check on Father," Julian said, his voice smooth as silk. He walked past Caden, ignoring him completely, and poured a glass of water for Arthur, but he didn't use the pitcher on the desk. He took a bottle of water from his own pocket. Here, father, drink this. Arthur drank greedily. His eyes cleared slightly. Julian, they want to sell logistics. I know, Julian said, because Caden owes $50 million to the Petrov cartel in Macau. If he doesn't pay by Friday, they are going to mail his fingers to this office. The silence in the room was absolute. Caden went pale. How do you know that? That's a lie. Is it? Julian pulled a sleek, futuristic smartphone from his pocket, an early prototype of the iPhone 3G, modified by Alex Chen. He tapped the screen and projected a hologram-like image onto the wall. Alex's tech was always 10 years ahead. It was a video. Caden, drunk in a VIP room in Macau, signing a promissory note with a shaky hand while a Russian mobster patted him on the cheek. Elena gasped. She rushed to Caden. You told me it was investment losses? You told me it was market volatility? It was an investment, Caden stammered. I was investing in cards. You fool! Elena slapped him, not because he gambled, but because he got caught. She turned to Julian, her eyes narrowing into slits. The art student facade was cracking. She realized with a jolt of terror that the boy she had tried to kill in the woods 10 years ago hadn't just survived. He had been watching. So what? Elena hissed, regaining her composure. So Caden made a mistake. We sell the division, we pay the debt, we move on. The Sterling Empire has billions in assets. We can afford it. Actually, Julian said, sitting on the edge of the desk looking down at them, we can't. The stock dropped 40% this morning. The banks have frozen our credit lines, and the SEC is investigating the creative accounting Caden used to hide his theft. The SEC? Arthur whispered, his face turning ashen. My legacy? We are ruined, Elena whispered. Then her survival instinct, the same one that made her frame a 7-year-old for theft, kicked in. She looked at Julian. She looked at the terrified Caden, and she saw a scapegoat. No, Elena said slowly, a wicked smile forming. We aren't ruined. Julian is ruined. She pressed the intercom button. Security, bring the police up, immediately. Mother? Caden asked, confused. Arthur, Elena said, gripping her husband's arm, tears instantly springing to her eyes. I didn't want to tell you. I wanted to protect you. But I found proof. It wasn't Caden who went to Macau. It was Julian. He stole Caden's identity. He used a fake ID. He embezzled the money to fund his drug habit. Look at him. He's pale. He's thin. He's a junkie. It was a desperate, insane lie. But Elena had planted the seeds. For years, she had spread rumors about Julian being the black sheep, the artist with a dark side. I have the transfer records, Elena shouted as the security guards and 2 police officers, who were on her payroll, entered the room. He transferred the funds from the corporate account to a shell company called JS Art. Arrest him. The officers moved toward Julian. Mr. Sterling, you're coming with us. Arthur looked at Julian. He was confused, drugged, and heartbroken. Julian, is it true? Julian didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't fight. He laughed. It was a low, dry chuckle. He stood up and straightened his turtleneck. Mother, Julian said, shaking his head, you really need to update your playbook. Framing me? Again? It's 2008. Paper trails don't disappear. I have the digital logs, Elena screamed, waving a printout. Those logs were forged by a hacker named Ghost, Julian said calmly. Real name, Kenny Rogers, a low-level script kiddie you hired last night for $5,000. He's currently sitting in the FBI headquarters, confessing to everything in exchange for immunity. Elena froze. What? And as for the JS Art Shell Company, Julian continued, walking toward the police officers. Officer, I suggest you run the tax ID on that company before you put handcuffs on me, unless you want to arrest the owner of the single largest shareholder of the Sterling Group. The officer paused. What do you mean? I mean, Julian said, his voice hardening, that JS Art doesn't stand for Julian Sterling Art. It stands for Jupiter Strategy, the private equity firm that just bought 51% of your debt from Lehman Brothers this morning. Elena's knees gave out. She grabbed the desk for support. You bought the debt? With what money? You're a student. I'm a student of the market, Julian corrected. While Caden was partying, I was building. Remember Omnicorp? That $2 million? I turned it into 10, then 100, then $1 billion. I own Phoenix Holdings. I own Nexus Tech. I own the bank that holds the mortgage on this building. He turned to his father. Father, the company is bankrupt. Technically, Caden destroyed it, but I bought the pieces. I own it all. The building, the brand, the debt, and he looked at Elena. I own the evidence of the arsenic poisoning. Arthur looked up, shock piercing through his fog. Arsenic? Dr. Chen, Julian called out. Alex Chen, now 26, wearing a hoodie and holding a tablet, walked in. He looked like a billionaire tech mogul, which he was. Hey, Julian. Hey, Mr. Sterling, Alex said casually. I analyzed the water in your pitcher. High levels of arsenic, and I have the security footage of Elena dosing it every morning for the last 6 months. The cameras you thought were broken? I fixed them remotely 5 years ago. Alex tapped his tablet. A video projected onto the wall. Elena, in her dressing gown, pouring a vial of powder into Arthur's carafe. Arthur stared at the video. He looked at the woman he had married, the woman he had defended against his own son. You, Arthur whispered, you tried to kill me? I did it for Caden, Elena shrieked, losing her mind. You wouldn't retire. You wouldn't die. Caden needed his inheritance. He needed to be king. He's not a king, Julian said coldly. He's a court jester. Julian turned to the police. Officers, I believe you have enough for an attempted murder charge, and fraud, and embezzlement. The officers looked at Elena. They looked at Julian, the new owner of everything. The payroll they were on was now effectively his. Mrs. Sterling, the officer said, taking out his handcuffs, you have the right to remain silent. No, no, Elena screamed, backing away. She grabbed a letter opener from the desk. She lunged at Arthur. If I go down, you go with me. It happened in slow motion. Caden cowered in the corner. Arthur was too weak to move, but Julian moved. He didn't use a weapon. He used the skills he had honed over a decade of knowing this moment would come. He stepped in, deflected her arm with a sharp chop to the wrist, and pinned her against the wall with a hand to her throat. I told you 10 years ago, Mother, Julian whispered into her ear, his voice sending shivers down her spine. Next time, you won't just slip. He applied pressure. She dropped the knife. She gasped for air, looking into his eyes. She saw the 7-year-old boy she had tormented. She saw the monster she had created. You are the devil, she wheezed. No, Julian said, releasing her as the police grabbed her arms. I'm just the son you should have feared. As Elena was dragged out, screaming curses, Caden fell to his knees in front of Julian. Brother, Julian, I didn't know. She made me do it. I'm sorry. Please don't send me to jail. I'm family. Julian looked down at Caden. He felt nothing. No hate, no pity, just indifference. You are family, Julian agreed. That's why I'm not sending you to jail. Caden sobbed with relief. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sending you to rehab, Julian said. In Siberia. I own a facility there. It's very isolated. You'll be there for 5 years. If you survive and if you get clean, maybe I'll give you a job in the mailroom. Siberia, Caden cried. Take him away, Julian ordered the security. The room cleared. Only Julian and Arthur remained. Arthur looked at his son. He looked at the man who had just saved his life and dismantled his enemies in under 10 minutes. You own everything? Arthur asked weakly. Everything, Julian confirmed. So? You came to take the crown, Arthur said, a hint of bitterness in his voice. You waited until I was weak. I waited until you needed saving, Julian said. I didn't take the crown, Father. You dropped it. I just picked it up before it broke. Julian walked to the window. He looked out at the city. The financial world was burning, but his empire was rising from the ashes. Rain lashed against the windshield of the matte black Ferrari Enzo as it tore down the coastal highway at 180 miles per hour. The engine roared like a caged beast, cutting through the storm that had descended upon New York like a shroud of judgment. Inside the cockpit, the atmosphere was electric. Julian Sterling sat in the passenger seat, his tuxedo jacket discarded, a holographic tablet balanced on his knees. His fingers flew across the interface, tracking a single red dot moving rapidly toward the abandoned industrial district. Behind the wheel sat Isabella Rossi. She drove with the precision of a Formula One racer and the calmness of a surgeon. Her ball gown had been ripped at the thigh to allow for movement, and her diamond earrings swung violently with every sharp turn. She's heading for the Iron Vault, Julian said, his voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. My father purchased it in the 80s. It's a decommissioned Cold War bunker with an independent satellite uplink. If she plugs the Doomsday drive into that mainframe, she can bypass the local firewalls and broadcast the encryption keys to the entire dark web. If she does that, Isabella said, shifting gears without blinking, the global banking system collapses. Your fortune, my fortune, the debt records, everything resets to zero. Total anarchy. She wants to burn the world because she can't rule it, Julian muttered, typical Elena. How much time do we have? Alex says the satellite aligns in 12 minutes. If she uploads the payload, then it's instant global saturation. Isabella smirked, her eyes narrowing as she saw the exit ramp approaching. 12 minutes? I can do it in 6. She slammed the accelerator. The Ferrari drifted sideways, tires screaming in protest, and shot onto the off-ramp like a missile. You know, Julian said, glancing at her, most fiancés want a ring for their engagement gift. You wanted a high-speed chase. I bore easily, darling, Isabella winked. Don't die on me. We haven't even argued over the prenup yet. The iron vault loomed out of the darkness, a concrete monolith covered in graffiti and vines. A stolen police van was crashed into the front gate, steam rising from its radiator. Isabella skidded the car to a halt. Before the engine even died, they were moving. Marcus Vance stepped out from the shadows of the guard shack. He was holding a sawed-off shotgun, looking wet and miserable. You're late, Marcus grunted. Traffic was murder, Julian quipped. Status? She's inside. She welded the blast door shut from the inside. She's screaming something about burning the kingdom. She has a hostage. Julian stopped. A hostage? Arthur, Marcus said grimly. She dragged him out of the car when she escaped. He's in there with her. Julian's face went cold. The playful banter with Isabella vanished. His eyes turned into black holes. She took my father? She wants an audience, Isabella deduced, pulling out her small pistol. She wants him to watch you fail. Can we blow the door? Julian asked. Not without collapsing the tunnel. Marcus shook his head. But there's the ventilation shaft. It's tight. I can't fit. Julian looked at the shaft. It was small. I can, Isabella said. I used to be a gymnast before I discovered hacking paid better. No. Julian grabbed her arm. It's too dangerous. She's armed. And so am I. Isabella smiled, a dangerous, predatory smile. Besides, you need to be on the comms. You're the only one who can counter her code if she starts the upload. I'll get the door open. You keep her talking. She kissed him quickly, hard, on the lips. Don't get sentimental, Sterling. Just be ready. She vanished into the shadows, climbing the trellis toward the vent. Julian turned to Marcus. Get the external jammer running. I need to buy us seconds. He walked to the massive steel blast doors. He placed his hand on the cold metal. He pulled out his phone and connected it to the external intercom system. Mother! Julian's voice boomed through the bunker speakers, amplified and distorted. Open the door. Let's finish this. Inside the bunker, the air was stale and cold. Banks of ancient servers hummed, their lights blinking rhythmically. In the center of the room, a modern laptop was hooked up to the main console. A progress bar on the screen read, Satellite alignment 98%. Elena Sterling stood by the console. Her hair was wild, her makeup smeared, her expensive dress torn. She looked like a fallen queen, mad with grief and rage. In one hand, she held a gun. With the other, she hovered over the Enter key. Arthur Sterling sat tied to a chair a few feet away. He looked old, frail, and utterly heartbroken. He's here, Elena whispered, hearing Julian's voice. She laughed, a jagged sound. He came for you, Arthur. Isn't that sweet? The son you ignored for 30 years. Elena, stop this, Arthur rasped. You've lost. Just run. Take the money you have left and run. I have no money, Elena screamed, turning on him. He took it all. He froze my accounts. He destroyed my reputation. I have nothing, and if I have nothing, then no one has anything. Mother, Julian's voice came again, calm, reasonable. The satellite won't align for another 3 minutes. I blocked the signal path. You lie! Elena shrieked at the speaker. You can't block a military satellite. I own the company that built the guidance chip. Julian lied effortlessly. I can turn it off. Open the door, Elena. Let father go, and I will give you a plane, a ticket to a non-extradition country, and $5 million. $5 million? Elena scoffed. I used to spend that on shoes. I want half. I want 50% of Phoenix Holdings. Transfer it now, or I upload the virus. You don't have a virus, Julian said. You have the Doomsday Drive. It contains the source code for the global banking interchange. If you release it, you don't get rich. You just destroy the value of money. You'll have 50% of nothing. I don't care, Elena cried. I want to see you bleed. I want to see you panic. Above her, in the shadows of the ceiling pipes, Isabella moved silently like a spider. She hung upside down, holding onto a conduit. She was directly above the console. She checked her watch. 1 minute, she needed a distraction. She tapped her earpiece 3 times. Outside, Julian heard the signal. "Elena," Julian said, his voice changing tone. It became softer, vulnerable. "Do you remember my 7th birthday?" Elena blinked, confused by the sudden shift. "What?" "The day I woke up," Julian said. "The day you framed me for the brooch. Do you know why I didn't hate you then?" "Shut up." "I didn't hate you because I pitied you," Julian continued. "I saw a woman so terrified of losing her position that she had to bully a child. You were never powerful, Elena. You were just scared, and you're scared now." "I am not scared," Elena screamed, aiming the gun at the door. "I am the matriarch of this family." "Look at you," Julian's voice cut deep, "hiding in a hole, holding an old man hostage. You're not a matriarch, you're a disappointment." "Die," Elena roared. She turned back to the console to smash the enter key. "Drop." Isabella released her grip. She fell 20 feet, twisting in the air. She landed directly on top of Elena. The gun went off. Bang! The bullet ricocheted off the steel wall. Isabella and Elena crashed to the floor in a tangle of limbs and silk. Elena fought with the strength of the insane, scratching and biting, but Isabella was younger, faster, and trained in Krav Maga. Isabella landed a solid elbow to Elena's jaw. Elena slumped back, dazed. Isabella scrambled up. She grabbed the laptop. She saw the progress bar. Alignment 100%. Upload ready. "Julianne, the door!" Isabella shouted, hitting the release switch on the wall. The blast doors groaned and slowly began to open. But Elena wasn't finished. She grabbed the gun from the floor. She didn't aim at Isabella. She aimed at the server rack, specifically the coolant tank. "If I can't upload it," Elena spat, blood dripping from her lip, "I'll blow us all to hell." She fired. The bullet pierced the pressurized tank. Liquid nitrogen sprayed out, sparks flew. The room began to fill with freezing fog and the ominous sound of electrical arching. "Self-destruct sequence initiated," a robotic voice announced. "Evacuate immediately." Julian squeezed through the opening doors. He saw the chaos. He saw his father tied up. He saw Isabella holding the laptop. And he saw Elena laughing maniacally as the room began to destabilize. "Get father!" Julian yelled at Isabella. Isabella didn't argue. She used a knife to slash Arthur's bonds. "Move, old man! Run!" She dragged Arthur toward the door. Julian ran toward the console. "Julian! No! Leave it!" Isabella screamed. "I need the drive!" Julian shouted. "It has the encryption keys. If it burns, the bank's locked down permanently." He reached the console. The fog was blinding. He found the USB drive. He yanked it out. Elena lunged at him from the fog. She grabbed his ankle. "Stay with me, Julian," she hissed, her eyes wide and white. "Die with your mother." Julian looked down at her, the woman who had poisoned his life in 2 timelines. He felt the heat of the fire starting in the corner and the cold of the nitrogen.